Now, in this state of release, why is man released? Is it simply that it is his loss of self-awareness? Probably this is the dominant factor. Having ceased to be aware of self, of the tremendous pressures of self-purpose, the individual suddenly relaxes. Zen might define it in this way, that the individual can never relax until he loses the compulsion of his own selfness. As long as he says to himself, this I must do, this I cannot escape from, this I cannot postpone, this must be achieved, or I am a failure, or I am miserable, I am poor, I am decrepit, unless I do this. While these attitudes remain, the person is under tremendous tension. So in the Zen philosophy, meditation becomes a kind of sleep. Yet it is not a sleep of unconsciousness. It is a sleep of directed adjustment with life. We can follow nature's way and depend upon complete loss of consciousness for this desperately needed letdown. Or we can develop an art in this, as Eastern mysticism has done. An art which perfects nature, anticipates its needs, and furthermore makes man a living, contributing force to his own relaxation. Instead of having his consciousness blocked by natural processes over which he has no control, he recognizes his own need, becomes in a sense the master of his own destiny, and coming to know that relaxation is important, he cultivates it. And by cultivating it, he has it when he needs it. In the Zen garden relaxation concept, therefore, the person is simply recharging the battery of life. He is recharging it, first of all, by no longer calling upon it beyond its natural capacity. One way of conserving energy is to hold on to what you have. Man cannot actually positively create energy, but he can administer the use of it. He can guard himself against the waste of it. He can use his energy allotments as wisely and as skillfully as his intelligence permits. To do this, he must be conscious of this allotment. He must become aware that his energy is one of his responsibilities. He must administer it as he administers everything else in the life he lives. So realizing that he must conserve, he wishes to find the best possible way of preserving and conserving his energy allotments. When his body is hungry, he seeks food. When his body needs rest, he seeks sleep. His body is cold, he either finds warmth or increases his clothing. If his body is too warm, he does the reverse. He tries to adapt himself to the needs of this compound structure which he calls his body. Man's contact with life around him is largely dependent upon the processes of the nervous system. Therefore, the nervous energies must be conserved. They must be properly regulated. The mysterious group of energizers which control and direct the flow of nervous energy and nervous resource must be understood and their process is guarded. Failure to take all of these into consideration means the gradual loss of energy supply, the waste of it, the sacrifice of it for purposes or ends that are neither useful nor essentially necessary. Tension not only demands more energy, but it wastes more energy. the tense person is using too much vital resource too rapidly. In nature, man is probably about the only creature that is consistently tense. Animals develop moments of tension, but they are not constantly tense because the animal lacks ambition. The animal does not have the long-range strategies which affect man. Animal instincts arise quickly. The animal obeys them. When instinct arises in man, it is almost inevitably met with conflict. The individual, under every instinct and impulse, finds himself at conflict with himself. As a result of constant conflict, there is further depletion of energy. Man being a creature capable of tremendous intensities, it does not follow that his organism and structure is capable of maintaining a continuous pressure pattern. Man is actually a far more fragile creature than he realizes. It seems sometimes as though he is almost immortal, that his body and personality can stand intense stress over vast periods of time. At another moment, these life resources disappear so quickly and with so little apparent cause for disappearance that we wonder how fragile this personality really is. But one thing is certain: it cannot stand the pressures which Western man is imposing upon it. It can stand them for a little while, but not indefinitely. And every individual has to find a way to reduce the pressure content in his own nature. So we have to try to figure out how he can do this and still retain his place in society and meet the challenge of the conditions that arise around him. One thing that creates pressure in man is responsibility. And responsibility nearly always results from the person taking on various patterns of duties which he must protect, must fulfill, must guard with his resources over a long period of time. Thus, one of the reasons for pressures is commitments. These commitments represent responsibilities voluntarily or sometimes involuntarily assumed, but nevertheless present. And in the effort to meet these responsibilities, the person very often exceeds his own capacities. With life as it is at the present time, the planning for the future of a pattern of responsibility is extremely difficult. Duties which we may assume today as quite possible and reasonable may prove an extraordinary and incredible burden 5 years from now. Things that can be done today with a minimum of effort may be impossible of accomplishment at some future date. Thus, the assuming of long-range responsibilities requires a great deal of thoughtfulness, and responsibilities demand a certain kind of person. All persons are not suited to these responsibilities. Some can carry them with wonderful dignity. Others cannot carry them. And our tendency today is to assume that the person who cannot is simply weak, is simply not standing up and doing what he should do. We measure all persons by the few who seem to achieve their ends, and all others are measured in terms of being lazy or witless or lacking in character or integrity or resource, character, or principle. The truth of the matter is, we do not all have the same resources with which to carry the burdens of life. Resources depend upon so many things. of each person in estimating his own pattern